So for many of you, all it's going to take is for you to read the headline of this video and probably not watch it, and for good reason. As it is well known by now, my biggest adversary in the culinary universe is pizza dough, as well as desserts. But we'll get into desserts later. I made 2 videos on pizza making. One was semi-successful, and the other one was just a flat-out fail. I'm on my last legs here, guys. So what do you do when you've exhausted all your resources into making a proper pizza dough? A lot rides on this, guys. Do you cry? Do you run away? Do you talk to your therapist about pizza therapy? No. You consult the culinary gods. And for me, that is none other than Joshua Weissman. Now, do I know this guy? No. But he is my inspiration. He is the reason why I wanted to become a YouTube cook or a YouTube chef. To me, he is bar none the best YouTube cook out here on the internet. And today we're going to be using his signature New York style pizza dough recipe to see if it can save my pizza dough game. Guys, if I cannot make a successful pizza dough after this, I may have to hang up the pizza making title. A lot rides on this. I have a lot of plans, a lot of ideas that use pizza dough, and I don't want to have to buy it from the store because I want to make it, but I want to make it right. So tonight, we're putting it all in, and we're going to be using the Joshua Weissman New York style pizza recipe, and we're going to start right now. So in an attempt to prevent making another half-hour long pizza making video, we're going to cut straight to the chase. And the part that stings the most about this recipe is this pizza dough recipe does not involve 00 tipo flour, which, like I did in my last video, just recently purchased a whole bag of 00 tipo. The only flour we're using right now for this recipe is all-purpose. So in this bowl is 6 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour, and to it we're going to be adding 3 1/4 teaspoons of 3 1/4 teaspoons of fine-ass sea salt, or regular table salt, and 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. I want to get that worked in. Most of your pizza places do use sugar in their dough. Now, a traditional Neapolitan pizza dough recipe does not use sugar. So we're going to go ahead and get this worked in. Make sure everything is well seasoned. So the way this measuring cup here is 2.5 cups plus 1 3/4 tablespoons of some good bottled water that just tempted around 95 degrees. And to it, I'm going to add in a 1.5 tablespoons of instant yeast. And I want to stir this together until I make sure these little yeasty boys are dissolved. Alright, so we're going to let that sit until it foams up. So the reason why I use a good bottled water for this is because one of the key ingredients to making a good New York pizza is the water. The water in New York is considered to be soft water, which means it's low in calcium, low in magnesium, and it lends its benefits to making bread. That's why bagels are so good in New York. Pizza, the quality of the bread is so good. So we need a nice quality water. So we're using a nice, good bottled water. So we're going to let this foam up, and then we're going to add this to our pizza dough. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes since I put my yeast inside my water. Now we're going to start adding this water in, and we're going to start very carefully mixing in, making sure everything gets hydrated. And I think that's the other thing that I did wrong in some of my other pizza dough recipes, is I don't think I let all of my flour get thoroughly combined with the yeast juice. So we're going to continue mixing this until we see a shaggy dough form. And now that we got a nice little rough ball of dough, we're going to keep working it until we get somewhat of a smooth dough to appear. Alright, now we're starting to see some results here. Been kneading it for a few minutes. After about 6 minutes of kneading, you should have a nice, smooth ball of dough. You should be able to pull it off of itself. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take some nice extra virgin olive oil. Pop this bad boy down in there. Cover it up and let it do its thing overnight in the refrigerator, and we'll see you again tomorrow. All right, so we are officially into today, and there is reason to be excited. Would you look at this? Y'all saw the dough ball that we put in this container last night. Look how beautifully this dough bloomed. This is looking and behaving like it's supposed to at this point. My last pizza dough should have looked just like this at this phase, which means we're doing something right. So now that we've reached this phase, let's go ahead and very gently punch down our pizza dough, get all that extra air out. Now, this sat in my fridge for probably good 18, 19 hours. Of course, you can keep this type of dough sealed up in your refrigerator for probably close to 3 days. No more than that. A lot of people say if you keep it for the 72-hour fermentation, you get a better crust, better texture, better taste. But we're going to follow the simple overnight recipe. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lay this all out here. And wow, that is unbelievable. For an accurate end result, you are going to need one of these, which is a kitchen scale. We can't be winging this if we want accurate results and a better pizza. So we're going to be cutting this up into 300-gram pieces, which I don't know how much that's going to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting this. And if we need to add some dough, we'll add some dough. We're a little shy. So keep doing this until you get all your pizza dough up into 300 gram pieces. Alright, so this is exactly 300 grams. What you're going to do now is you're going to form it into a nice, tight ball. Make sure all your ends are sealed. And this is probably the most pliable pizza dough I've seen come from my kitchen. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like. We might be onto something here, guys. Now repeat this process until you've used all your pizza dough. So this recipe yielded me 4 full-sized pizza dough balls and 1 little runt that we could probably use to make like a cheesy bread or something later on. So we're just going to very lightly dust the tops of our perfect pizza doughs with a little all-purpose. You're just going to cover the top of this with some plastic wrap. Alright, so what do you do when your nearly perfect pizza dough is blooming? We're going to make the best New York style sauce we can. So we're going to have 1 28-ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes that we're going to crush by hand. We're going to crush it really fine. And to keep this from being too thick, we're going to add about 1/2 cup of water. Season it with 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1/2 tablespoon of onion powder because I ran out, and I know, shame on me, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, and then about 1 1/4 tablespoons of minced garlic. A little heavy on the garlic to make up for some of that absent onion flavor, which is needed. And then a nice little chiffonade of about 6 or 7 fresh basil leaves. cut into nice small ribbons. We're going to get that worked in. And like always, no sugar. Because San Marzano tomatoes are naturally sweet. We shouldn't need sugar. A little sprig of extra virgin olive oil for flavor and consistency. And now we taste. One thing is missing in my opinion is just a little pinch of sugar. I know that contradicts everything that I just said. This will sweeten up a little bit more when it's cooked, but we want to make sure it tastes good before it goes on the pizza. We've arrived at the flavor that we want. All we gotta do is wait for that pizza to rise up, that pizza dough to rise up, which it's rising very beautifully, might I add. And then we get to assemble, hopefully, the best New York style pizza you can make at home. Alright, and the moment of truth is upon us. Towards the end of the first hour of our pizza dough proofing, I went ahead and preheated my oven to the highest temp that it would go. And for my oven, that is 525 degrees Fahrenheit. What you want to do is put your pizza stone, or if you have an oversized pizza pan like I do, you want to go ahead and get that in the oven and let that bake for an hour at 525. You want that pan ripping hot, because when you're using a home oven, it's going to be a totally different experience than a pizza oven. Pizza ovens get to like 700 to 800 degrees Fahrenheit, and they cook your pizzas within 2 or 4 minutes. So to kind of replicate some of that additional heat, you have to heat whatever you're cooking your pizza on, whether that's an oversized pizza pan or a pizza stone. Now, also another pro tip is, if you put your resting dough balls on top of your stove while the oven is preheating, it'll help speed up some of that proofing process, as long as you do not allow it to get too warm. So let's take a look at our dough balls. Oh my lord, that is a pizza dough if I've ever seen it. We might be doing something here. So now is the moment of truth. We're going to work this into a pizza crust. So we're just going to, on a lightly floured surface, we're just going to use our knuckles to start identifying the border of a crust. And then we're just going to start using the insides of our hands to turn. You see how pliable this is? Just to turn this thing out. This is still really moist and really workable. Look at that air pocket right there. And once we start working our pizza into, a legible shape, we can start working on the width of this. You're looking for a 12 to 14 inch pizza. Let's see if we can get anywhere close to that. Now that we've got this, we can go ahead and start working with our fingers and letting gravity do the rest. Just take your knuckles and just start moving in a circular motion. And look at how easy this is falling. We're simply just letting gravity do the work here. Put it down, stretch it. Don't worry if your pizza isn't perfectly round. You see how well this is holding up? I have not had a pizza dough do this to this extent. Alright, and what we've got here is probably roughly a nice 12-inch pizza. And guys, that's not bad. I've never been able to get a pizza to actually get to being this size. You might have a 14-inch pizza here. Make sure there's no holes. Make sure we're bridging any gaps that we have here, because we don't want a perfect crust to fall short of being able to hold its contents. Alright, now is the moment of truth. Now that we've got a nice sized pie, we want to go ahead and hit it with our beautiful homemade tomato sauce. The only thing I did after making the sauce was add some additional kosher salt, because it did fall just a little flat, but I don't want to oversalt this sauce because we have a lot of cheese and stuff going on top. And now, we'll hit it up with this beautiful Parmesan Romano cheese. 4C, of course. And then we'll hit it with this nice, low moisture, part skim mozzarella cheese. Make sure all of our edges are covered from end to end. And the reason why we don't oversalt is because we got all this cheese that's going on top of it. Alright, now that we've got our perfectly cheesed pizza, we're going to throw down with some of this pepperoni right here. Same brand I always use, the Margarita brand. Don't get cheap with the pepperonis now. And though this might look a little small for a New York pizza, if you take a look at Josh Weissman's video, his pizza turned out to be about this size. But this is definitely one of the biggest pizzas I've made yet. And we're just going to very carefully transfer our pie from our workstation to our very hot pizza pan. Also on the pizza pan you can rearrange your shape. Now if you guys have a pizza peel, that would be ideal. I still have not been able to find one yet. And like we always do, we're just going to hit it up with a little more of that grated cheese. A little hit of extra virgin olive oil. And since we're cooking this in a home oven, this should take anywhere between 6 and 8 minutes. So I want to check around 7. Moment of reveal, and does that not look like a beautiful pie? Now, is it the same size as your standard New York pizza that you would get at a pizza shop? No. But we're also working with a different dough recipe with a different hydration level. And also, we don't have the equipment here at home, at least I don't, to make a proper pizza, and that being a pizza oven. Now, if you guys do have pizza ovens, this would probably turn out more like the real thing. But for an at-home dough recipe, I think this turned out far better than any other one. So let's see how it cooked up. And also, just to let you guys know, this actually took about 10 minutes in my oven. Instead of the 7 or 8, because there was some crust on the side that just did not look completely cooked. So on my oven, it took about 10 minutes. And now it's time for the moment of truth. Cheesy. That is by far the best pizza I've ever made in my life. The texture is correct, the flavor is correct, the sauce is correct. Everything is right about this pizza, guys. So we are back in the game. I have so much more that I have planned for you guys. So please stay tuned. You Want a Pizza Me section has not been canceled. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that's coming your way. I'd love to tell you, but I'd like to keep you in suspense. So until next time, this is your boy Mark the Mad Chef, and I'm about to tear this whole pizza up.